Hi everyone, the best way to get started with services is just to create one and see what we can do with that. So let's do this. I'm back at my app component here, and what I want to do is I will first create two components so that we can see how we can interact with services from different components, and thereafter I'll create the actual service. So let me quickly create those two real simple components, which will just be component 1. And in here, well, you probably know that by now. We'll first import component from Angular 2 core. It's a little bit too big here for my taste. Then add the component decorator. And then here we have the actual class, which is called component 1 component. So I got this, and now I'm just going to copy that file, rename it to component 2, go into that file, change to 2 here as well. And now I got my two components, and well, to be honest, I could have specified the selector first, but doesn't really matter. That selector should be component 1. Template will be my backticks as usual, and now I'm going to copy that too and just paste it in here, change this to component 2. Okay, so this first service I'm going to create will only log a message to our console. That is all. I'll therefore create a new folder here, which we'll call services. And as I said, that is not the normal way we structure our app. We structure it by areas, or not by component service directive, but instead by like shopping list, to-do list, and this functional structuring. But yeah, for this will do. I'll just have a folder which will hold my different services, since this is really just a video about those services. So we'll create a logging service, and now the naming convention is to have the name of the service, logging, and then service.typescript. Now, to be clear, that is not important for the app to work if you specify it this way, but it's just a good way so that you're quickly able to recognize what's inside this file, right? So in here, let's create the service. I will begin by creating a class which I export, which we'll call logging service. And here, all I want to do is I want to provide a method, log, which takes a message, which should be a string, and it will take this message and just log it to the console. So nothing too fancy here. Now, at the moment, we don't have a decorator, but we need one because we want our service to be injectable into components and directives and wherever we want it to inject. I need to give it the @injectable decorator here. And now the import was automatically done for me, but you need to import injectable from Angular 2 core. Now that makes our service usable. And now let me go to my component 1. What I want to do here is I really just want to create an input field and a button which will send the value of that input field. So that will be just a message we log, and here will be just a click event on log. Message.value will be the method we execute. So let me create this method here, which takes a message of type string. And well, then I want to access my service. Now, how do I inject it? When we created our directives, we learned how to inject template and references to our elements. So injection seems to work through the constructor, right? So that makes sense that when this component is created, well, we inject our service object into that component and bind it to a private property there. So I will create a constructor here, and I will use this syntax again where I instantly bind to a private property. Again, this could be written in a long form too, but I really like it this way. Now I will bind it to a property called logging service. And what will I bind? Well, my logging service here. which also has to be imported from this file which lives in the services directory. So that is my logging service, and now I could try to do this logging service log message. Okay, let's save this. And I need to restart Gulp so that it compiles my TypeScript files here. And obviously I need to include my component1 component here in my app component. So also add the directives, metadata, save this, and now I got my component1 here. I'll just add a little bit of padding and margins so that it is a little bit nicer to see. Okay, now let me open up my developer tools here so that I can see my console. And yeah, we can already see we got an error here. And if I try to log something, well, that's not working. Now that has a good reason, because in my component1, I'm injecting it here in the constructor, but Angular 2 does not know how to create such a logging service. We're never telling it. It knows, yeah, I got this class logging service and you want to use it here, but doesn't know how to do that. So in order to tell Angular 2 how to create this service, this instance here we want, well, we have to add a provider here to our component. So that's a new metadata configuration you got here called providers. And like the directives, this takes an array of all the classes we want to provide to this component in this case. So we want this component to be able to get a logging service, so we need to provide it to it. And we do this by just specifying our logging service here. If I now save, you see this error message has gone away. And if I type something here and click send, you see it's now logging that to our console. So now this is working because we told Angular 2 how to create such a service, such a class. And that is how services and injection of services works in Angular 2. We just create them, make them injectable, provide whatever logic we want to have there, and then in the place where we want to use them, we inject them in a constructor and tell Angular 2, in the component case here in the component decorator, how to use this or how to create such an instance. And yeah, we're now able to use that service. Now in the next video, we'll have a look at the different places where we can tell Angular 2 how to create this logging service, because here in this component decorator is not the only place we can do this. We'll see it in the next video. Bye.